Hello, all. I've been thinking there is so much to share, so I thought I'll just pick up any topic randomly, any topic maybe which can connect with people. So I have observed this in my life, especially in India. Uh, I've seen that there is a lot of discrimination that happens when it comes to the poor, especially in households. I have seen the way the servants are treated. So I sometimes feel educated women and educated families, the way they behave, it kind of irks me. They think that servant is something which is almost like an untouchable. Their glass is different, their plate is different. They say they are doing this because they feel the maids are not very hygienic. um, so apart from hygiene, I think the general treatment and the kind of food that the maids are given, all these things kind of irritate me a lot. And at least in my household, I think my servants are like my friends. I don't treat them like servants because my husband also works somewhere in some company. So he's also a salaried guy. So any person who's earning their living, I think they should be respected. So many times I try to voice my opinion. I try to very subtly put it across to the family members or to friends, that that they shouldn't be treating the servants the way they're treating currently. And many times I used to think, and I know it also for sure, that servant is like, when I look at my servant, I feel it is like some kind of a message, like, God is actually coming into your house in the form of your servant also. He's there in everybody. We believe that God is omnipotent, omnipresent. He's there in all creatures. And I'm sure he's there in your servant as well. So, all these so called religious people who are like from morning to evening engaged in religious activities, uh, how come they don't have the sense that God can be even in their servant? How can they give a servant some stale food? Something that you don't feel is, edible for you, because it's rotting or it's become kind of old or whatever, especially those andhra pickles and all, when they become absolutely old, that kind of stuff you give to your servants. I don't think so. People give them fresh food or something that they eat. They don't give the servants. I think very few people are like that. I'll not say everybody is ill treating, but most of the people, the kind of stuff they give to the servants is something which is not edible to them or to their family. I know there is a lot of poverty in India, and I really respect all the maids that I have encountered so far, because these ladies, they are literally slogging. And most of these ladies unfortunately got married at a very young age, and they almost, I think they all of them have husbands who are useless and drunkards and who beat them up. There's so much of domestic abuse that these ladies go through. But despite that, they come cheerfully, they work in 4 5 houses, they're raising 2 to 3 kids. I mean, we talk about women empowerment on political fronts, and we make such hue and cry about women empowerment, about about careers, etc., etc., in this modern world. But I feel that our maids are also empowered. Okay, they are coming, though they are uneducated, they are earning 15 to 20,000 a month. um so So I think they should be respected. They should not be treated the way they are being treated, especially, off late. I think this generation is kind of better, but still, in my generation, also, I do have a lot of friends. I do have a lot of relatives or whatever who don't treat the servants well. So I think today my message is like, um, the maid that comes to your house, definitely the god that you pray to, that god is in the maid also. See, god is there in god, or whatever you call it, god, guru, or higher intelligence, or life energy. See, that divine thing is filling my body in this moment. It is filling everybody's body. It is there in every being, every atom, every particle. So when you look at something, be it a dog, or be it your maid, or be it your neighbor, whatever, everything around you is definitely divine, because the divine is still existing within those bodies. See, once the divine is out of this body, it will be buried, burnt, whatever. So it is nothing but a pile of trash. So, if I am able to speak now, if I'm still alive, that means there is that divine energy in this body. It is still there. So, how can you disrespect the divinity in one person and give it huge regard if it is there in another person? Divinity is divinity, it's there in each one of us. So, if somebody wants to actually start treading the spiritual path, or trying to know God, etc., etc., I think, the first thing that they should look at is the servant that comes to the house. I gave this advice to many. Treat them well. God comes to you every day, 7 o'clock in the morning, knocking at your door. He's there in her also. He's there in your maid, in your driver. So treat them well, respect them. They are really, really slogging. So give them the right kind of food. And let's see how many people incorporate this. Talking big, big things about religion, and talking big about how much fasting you have done, how many prayers you have done. Ekadashi, I did this, Paurnima, that puja, then I'm doing this vratam, I did Varalakshmi vratam, that vratam. Okay, good, you're doing all that, but how is it how is it changing you into a better person? So, my question has always been, you have been doing so many religious activities, and you are so pious, and you talk about your piety, then it should reflect in your life, right? It should reflect in your character. If you are so religious and so God loving, then you should be oozing love for everybody. So, a person who is God loving cannot be looking at somebody with some kind of a detest, or, that they can't ill treat anybody. And in India, unfortunately, as I said, there is so much poverty, and people kind of ill treat their mates. Uh, I had people who ridiculed me because my maid and me, we sit at the table and we have our breakfast. She sits besides me, and we are sitting and happily talking away, and we eat hot, hot breakfast. So I was ridiculed many times, because they said that no, you shouldn't treat your servant like that. You shouldn't put her on your head. You don't know these maids. Anytime they can give us a hand. So you shouldn't. You should put them in their place. So I didn't understand what exactly putting them in their place is. Like, you're sitting at the table, and you expect the maid to sit near your feet and eat, because they're not supposed to sit on your couch, or on the sofa, or on the dining table. So you expect them to sit near your feet. I thought this is really rubbish. Why should somebody sit near my feet? As I said, I see God in everything. So if I'm seeing the divine in my maid, how can I make the divine sit near my feet, and I am happily hogging at the table, and that one is sitting near my feet? I thought that is too much for me to handle. And coming to this point that, your servant is sitting on your head, I don't think so. My servants sit on my head or anything like that. We have a friendly rapport. So I never was taken for granted by them. We do have our sets of fights. We shout, we yell, but that is like in a very friendly way. But any servant who comes to my house, I don't even call them a servant. I make them my friend, and they're there with me for how many ever years I live in that house, for 2-3 years. They're just stuck to me. I don't change the maids. They're happy with me. I'm happy with them. And life goes on, and gives me immense pleasure that they eat tummy full in my house. They're very, generally, very free, very happy. They don't have people breathing on their nape, ordering them, commanding them, making them feel like trash. They're happy. And just seeing them happy, eating them tummy full, being bubbly and joyful, I think that is something that gives me a lot of happiness. Because in this world people are so unhappy for so many reasons. They just need the smallest reason to really sulk and be unhappy. So if you can make somebody happy and somebody really smile and behave childlike with you, I think that itself is some kind of a success in your life. Success need not mean how much you earn, how much money you get home. Especially, nowadays for women, success is something which is like whether you can drive, how many children you have had, how very what kind of a wife you are, what kind of a daughter-in-law you are, what kind of a daughter you are, and the list is endless. So they measure you in every possible way. You have to look beautiful, and after 40 also you have to look like you're in 30s, and then you have to maintain yourself. And you have so many things that talk about anti-aging. You're not supposed to age anymore, you should look like a doll even at 45 and 50. All this rubbish is happening. So I feel that all this is not success, I'm not saying, I'm not against career or women who are working, but just working and getting the money and building a house and making babies and flaunting your house and your children and calling it success is, for me, a very crappy idea. Success is when you're happy within yourself, when you're self contained, when people around you are basically happy for no reason. They come home, they come to your house, and they're generally feeling positive, they're generally feeling happy, they're yapping, they're sharing whatever's happened in their day with you, they're pouring out their heart to you. These things are very important in this world where technology is taken complete, it's dominating, it's dominating every household. So people don't want to interact, people don't want to talk to anybody. So it is like, if you are there to listen to somebody, and if you can really, nothing, just give them some company. I think that is very, very important. Otherwise, maybe a couple of years, maybe 5 6 years down the lane, if this trend continues where people stop interacting, there's no communication happening, people are on their mobiles, then I think the beauty and charm of life will be lost. Already it is lost, but I think it will disappear. People will become very robotic. So my attempt is to keep my house positive, cheerful, basically cheerful, no sulking faces. Anyway, see, we are here for a short time. We'll come, we'll go. In this short time, why should one make it like, it's a tragedy? Ups and downs keep happening, but just be cheerful, just be happy. So the message for today is, yeah, please, next time when you see your maid, kind of, try to have that kind of a soft feeling. Respect that lady for all the hard work that she does, and treat her well. So if you really want to please the goddess, ఆగస్ట్ వస్తుంది వరలక్ష్మి పూజ. చూస్తారు ఇక్కడ ఇప్పుడు అందరు పేరెంటాలు, పూజలు, హంగామా. Oh my god, full to show off, all the silver is out, and it is a, I'm sorry to say, but it's like a kitty party, okay? uh, all in the name of god. So I don't know how many people actually do it with devotion, but for me, the way I see it, it's like how they've decorated, what kind of food they have made, blah 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 blah. So okay, each to his own, as I said. But please see the goddess even in your maid. Treat her well, give her something which is edible to eat, and maybe, small things, or I can say small steps only, will lead to bigger destinations. So if your destination is to reach god and become that religious or that absolute devoted person and all that, I think the small step is start from your house. They say na, charity begins at home. I'll not call this charity, but make some small changes, and let's see how things work. So this is my small advice for today. Bye.